Hello, welcome to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway podcast. That's right. Your host and tour guide is Scott Prevette, a healer, hypnotist, and a magician. And your bus driver is Jason Gobelli, also a hypnotist, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual guide. Trip with us on the Inner Revelation bus. That's right. One quick disclaimer, neither Jason, Scott, or any of our guests here today are licensed professional psychologists or psychiatrists. So please don't make any changes to any medication or treatments that you are currently on, based on the conversation that you hear here today. Just hop on the bus and enjoy the ride. Give us a like, love, or comment, and remember to share your experience with others because there is always room for more in this bus. That's right.
Hey, welcome back to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway. And I'm Jason. We got Scott here. We got a great special guest today, man, who I'm excited to have. We got Rich Guzzi.
Welcome,
Rich,
welcome.
how are you?
How's it going, guys?
Welcome. Awesome.
It's great to have you here. Rich, before we even get started, tell us a little bit about you. We know you're a comedian. We know you're a hypnotist. Just tell us a little about who you are.
Well, I've been doing this a long time. I was a comedian actually before a hypnotist. And I've been doing hypnosis about 30 years now. Kind of happened by accident. What happened was I was a regular comic. I'm working at a comedy club in New Jersey. I walk in and Sandy DePerna was the club manager. And she goes, "Hey, Rich, did you hear Otto and George on the Howard Stern show this morning?" And I said, and now Otto and George was this dirty puppet act. He had this really filthy puppet. So I said, yeah, he went crazy. He goes, yeah, Ed Rodriguez heard the show. He went berserk. Ed was the owner of Rascals now at this point, and says, yeah, I have to fire Otto and George because he's no longer allowed to play Rascals anymore. His manager, Joe Miller's with him. You got to fire all his acts too. I had to fire everybody. Even had to fire poor Denny Moore, the hypnotist. So I got to find a new hypnotist. So I was just joking around. I said, well, I can do the hypnotizing show for you. She goes, you can do the hypnotizing show? I said, yeah. I was just joking around. I said, yeah, I do the psychic guy. Remember John Edwards, the psychic guy?
Mm-hmm.
I used to do a mock psychic bit in my act, my regular comedy act. So I said, yeah, the hypnosis is the same thing. So she brings me in the back, opens the book up, and it's like, I had that date open. She goes, want the date? I'll take the date. It was like 3 times the money I would normally make because the hypnotist got paid a lot of money. So I took the gig, and I remember driving home that night. I was driving back to Long Island. I said, well, better learn how to do the hypnotizing show. I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about hypnosis. I took a hypnosis course. And I said, man, I'm in big trouble. This is all fake. This is not going to work. This is bad. I'm going to look like an idiot here. So I did, I read some books and I decided doing practicing all the stuff with the books. So I'm practicing after my regular shows. I'm hypnotizing people after the show, practicing everything. Then I said, well, I got to practice. I have to do a show. I have to practice it and see if it's going to work. But it's got to be in a place where if it goes bad, nobody's going to find out. So like never work in Muskegon, Michigan ever again, that type of situation. So we booked the show in and 300 people bought $5 tickets. So the place is packed. I do all the stuff they taught me in the book and it actually worked the first time. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was blown away. And then I actually was so amped up that I was driving to St. Louis the next day. I drove to St. Louis that night because I couldn't fall asleep. Did another practice show in Altoona. And I had 2 practice shows under my belt. Now Rascals comes 6 weeks later. I had 6 weeks to prepare, by the way. So Rascals shows up. The first night is Wednesday night. It goes Wednesday to Sunday. And who shows up the first night? Denny Moore, the hypnotist, and his manager. So now I'm like, wow. They're going to scrutinize, and I'm going crazy. I'm like, oh. And obviously, in retrospect, to look back, it's a smart move. Because they figure I go belly up, they save the day, get their gig back. It's a smart move. I get it. So I'm figuring to myself, okay, I'm still a comedian. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go up. I did 15 minutes of my best material. And so I'm just going to bring up as many people as possible to do the hypnotizing show and see what happens. It's exactly what I did. I brought 20 people on stage. 4 of them got hypnotized. I did the show with the 4. It was good enough. The show went off without a hitch. They left in the middle of the show. My confidence grew. I did 7 shows that week. They handed me a check for $3,000. And I'd never made $3,000 for doing comedy before. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So I just figured I dodged a bullet. But what happened was I fell to the dark side. The phone starts ringing. Hey, I heard you do the hypnotizing show. Yeah, I do that. I went from being an old comic to a young hypnotist. And next 30 years later, I'm still doing it. It's like I started taking less and less comedy gigs, more and more hypnosis gigs. And then all of a sudden, I became the guy.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of doing it, I'm watching you do it. Man, you got shows all over the place. You're going one right after the other. You're like a 1970s rock and roll hypnotist star like this, except, you probably don't destroy hotels and piss out the window at midnight.
exactly. Well, I wish, listen, I remember those days. So
That's awesome.
I was at 300 shows a year for a long time.
Wow.
Wow.
And I do a lot less now because I'm mostly into the coaching and training space. I show other guys, the younger guys now, how to do what I do. I love hypnosis. I love what it can do for people. I use the show now to teach the audience that hypnosis should be your first avenue for getting your life better, not the last resort. Hypnosis has been very, very good to me and my family, my career. And I'm using the rest of my years, God willing, to show the world that hypnosis is the key ingredient to make your life better. I think everybody on the planet needs a hypnotist. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't need one. So it should be in the same category as your doctor, your lawyer, your financial advisor, your dentist. You have your hypnotist. And if everybody did it, the world would be a so much better place. So that's what I'm using the rest of my years for, to promote hypnosis in a good light and show the world what it really is.
Yeah, I think a hypnotist may have a little bit more concern than that attorney you're talking about there, Rich.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So we have to take the black stigma away from hypnosis and show people that it's not, some type of evil thing or whatever. It's something good. We all have the power. Turn it on, man. Use it to your advantage.
And that's one thing that really excited us about you is that we know that you're just not your normal stage hypnotist. When you do a show, what you want to do is you want to actually give them the good stuff. You want to give the healing stuff. You want to throw the stuff that's out there. And then even afterwards, you take it to the audience. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's what we're all about, healing people.
I'm glad you bring this up, because this is the thing that's super important to me. Whenever I train a brand new hypnotist, I say the first thing your job is to make sure the audience believes that hypnosis is real. That's the first job. So every decision I make, there's thousands of decisions that have to be made on a show every single night. The first thing you decide is, like, if I do this, will the audience believe less or more? Because if you prove that to the audience that the hypnosis is real, this is really happening, 80% of the game is already done for you, because it's the most powerful tool available to make people's lives better. So let's educate the audience and say, yes, I want you to be entertained, but I want to educate the audience and say, hey, this thing can make your life better. This can, all right, yeah, stop smoking, lose weight, reduce stress, sleep better. All right, those are all rudimentary things. But what about taking away past traumas? All right, if you look at most people's problems, they happen from under 12 years old. Something happened in their childhood, something stuck in there, and all of a sudden, bang, they have some type of fear, phobia, something's holding them back in life, and they're not reaching their full potential. And to me, the biggest sin is wasted potential. You want to have that, every person's given something. Go out and use that potential. And hypnosis gives you the ability to supercharge that and power it on. So the show is designed to, yes, make you laugh, but it's kind of like almost like a lost leader. If I was to go around the world doing hypnosis demonstrations, nobody would care. They'd be like, what is it? But as a comedy show, it's disguised as fun and games. But then you watch the audiences transform. They start to like metamorphosize. And they went from being just a fun group of people, let's see my friends do stupid stuff, to like, wait a minute, look what he's doing with these people. He's changing their life right now. Look at this. And then at the end of the show, I do this good energy affirmation for the entire audience. And now the entire audience gets to participate. And they all feel the hypnotic effect. And all of a sudden, their lives start getting better. I got literally an email yesterday from a woman who was at the show, watching the show in the audience. She texted me back. She said, I don't know what happened last night, but I went home and started becoming so motivated. And she goes, I even cooked. I don't cook. Like, my husband, my kids were like, "What are you doing cooking, Mom?" Right? She was cooking, and she says, "I became massively motivated by being at your show, and I was even in the show. She was just in the audience." And that happens because of the good energy affirmation we do. And that's what transforms lives. And that's the thing that brings awareness to what this tool can really do for you. That's my show.
I wish more people were like you that decided to make hypnosis more, showing people what they could do with it in a
Yes.
good way.
Yeah. It's when I see these posters of these other hypnosis shows, and they got the guy like this with the girl, doing like, whoa, right? That all that creepy hypnosis. I call this induction to Bill Cosby, by the way. This is right, because you got the girl dripped up, and I'm like, what are you doing with that? Right? You're turning hypnosis into something creepy instead of fun. It should be fun and entertaining. And don't be the creepy hypnotist. That's the first rule of hypnosis in my book, right? The 10 Commandments. Don't be creepy. Just be the fun guy, be the fun girl, showing the world what hypnosis is all about. And you see how things are going to change dramatically. So I teach all my people that the first foremost, make people believe it's real.
Shit, Rich, you are the hypnosis rock star. So listen, let's throw this out here too. I was talking to one of your techniques because I've listened to some of your stuff, and you were talking about things happening before you were 12. And I heard your DVD technique, how you take the DVD and scratch it up. And
yes.
So that way they can't play it back. So I'm having a conversation with some other hypnotists the other day, and they're saying, well, why not change it an event instead of making it so you can't play it? I think I agree with your theories. Just scratch it up so you can't replay it. But it was interesting to have that conversation with other hypnotists. What are your opinions on that?
Yeah, so, it's very interesting you say that, because I look at it like a scientist. And I'm very lucky because I've done more than 10,000 shows in my career. So I have a very large sampling size. So when I was first starting out, everything's very rudimentary. Like, you always you attack the problem. So in other words, a guy wants to lose weight. Every person who needs to lose weight knows exactly how to do it. Eat better food, right? And exercise more. But what about the underlying cause of why the person is big? All right. So in the beginning, it's just to be like, you hypnotize the person, you start putting direct suggestion in there. Hey, you're going to start exercising more. Hey, you're going to notice that you're only going to eat better foods, right? You're basically putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Because what happened was, let's say the person was attacked and traumatized when they were younger. Now they're blowing themselves up to not look attractive because they don't want to be attacked anymore. That's the way their subconscious is thinking. So now I'm healing the cause of the problem, not healing the symptoms like most medications do. Like big, the pharmaceutical companies want to pill you up, take some pills, cure all these symptoms. Well, I don't want hypnosis to turn into the same thing. You need to heal the cause of the issue. Let's heal the disease. Let's heal the real problem. So by using the DVD technique, you put your life on a movie. If I go back and change the scenes, well, guess what? I'm doing that person a massive disservice, because now that didn't happen. I'm changing things around. I'm making like a Back to the Future type situation. If I make it where this actually still happened, but you can't emotionalize it any longer, now you've learned the lesson. Let's make sure that never happens again. And let's make sure that we tell everybody, don't let this happen to you. But now we've taken the emotional charge off of it, and we've healed the cause of the problem. Instead of like mask it with some other type of either other like scenario that potentially happened that didn't really happen, which could always be rejected later on down the pike. So I want to actually attack the cause of the problem and heal that. And that's why I use that DVD technique. I'd rather scratch it up and make it where it can no longer play emotionally in that person's mind anymore.
And I definitely appreciate that, because I see things that way a lot myself, where just let's directly cover it. If you got a headache, you don't take an aspirin because your body has lack of aspirin in it. You deal with the problem. What's causing the headache? So I see it this
exactly.
A lot of these other people want to do these things where, and I don't know if you're into this, where you want to do like parts work or work with ego states and all this other stuff. And I'm saying, well, let's cure the problem first and then see what's going on. So what's your theory on that? Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay, listen, there's lots of different modalities. So I like to work with I like direct suggestion. I like, working directly with the person and giving them, but you know what? Sometimes those techniques are valuable for certain people in certain cases. So on a case by case basis, I make my decision on where I'm going to go with this. But what I found is that people are people. Whatever background they have, whatever country they come from, whatever race, it's a lot of times it doesn't make a difference. People want to be cured. They want to, let's cut to the chase. That's why everybody wants the magic pill. But my magic pill takes them right to the source, and whatever source I need to fix that particular issue for this person is what I'm going to use. So if a parts therapy is needed, right, or some type of ego thing, the Gestalt, whatever is needed for that particular scenario, let's work with that one, especially if it's something that individually person needs. Or so if I'm talking to a doctor, he's a little bit different than a truck driver, right? He's got different past, so he understands a different modality. But sometimes the doctor is a simple guy. He just wants to be fixed. And when he was a kid, he's playing a video game, and his mom says, "What are you doing here in the dark?" And boom, she opens the blinds up really quick, and a flash of light comes through the window just as something's happening on the TV, and all of a sudden, boom, something just got implanted, and it happened accidentally. Didn't even know how it happened. And now here's a guy who's become a doctor, went to 12 years of school, residency, did all this other stuff, very sophisticated and educated individual, yet he's still a child when it comes to being repaired.
Nice.
And that's why I feel that the direct suggestion and healing the cause is the best method. And if you combine that with some of the other modalities and other therapies and stuff like that, I think that's the sweet spot for you. I think you should have that stuff as tools in a tool belt. But the biggest overall picture is that direct suggestion, and go back to 12 years old and less, 15 years old and less max number, and you're going to see you're going to fix 99% of the people.
Nice. Now, so here's the thing. So you got all this going on with your hypnosis shows and everything, but what other thing that is very inspirational is your hypnosis world, because you're not just about doing the shows, you're about training hypnosis, but also helping these people make the money. So we're not just giving everything away for free, because so often we want to help everybody and we don't want to get paid for it. So talk about that.
Oh man, the prosperous helper. This is an Achilles heel in the industry, and it's funny. It's just not in just hypnosis; it's in everything. Massage therapy, yoga instructors, coaches and trainers. Oh no, my reward is helping people, and you're broke. All right, so here's the thing. I look at it like this: money is a tool. All right, it's a massive tool. It's a tool that creates impact. It's like a hammer. It creates massive impact. The more you have of it, the larger impact you can create. So if you have this vast resource of income, you can now do like I do. I have software. In fact, I have a meeting with one of my software developers in an hour and a half, and he's going to develop this brand new software that we're making that's going to help hypnotists, schedule their stuff in easier and not screw up on the phone. Because I see a lot of hypnotists talk the client out of the session on the phone. They don't know how to talk it. I'm like, man, this is killing me here. So I'm designing a brand new software that's going to prevent that from happening. Now that all costs money. I have to hire a software developer. I don't know how to build software. But I have the finances to get the software built. Just like finances can create larger impact on social media. I could put more social media ads out. Here's how we help people. So that impact is created through finances. The world goes around because of finance. So if you don't have any money to spend on your business, how are you going to get growth? It's an impact tool. So I show people it's not a sin to make money. It's not a sin to get paid for your trade. I look at it like this too. if you give somebody significant help and you fix that person, let's say the person is somebody of stature, they're an important person, and now that person can do their job at a higher and better rate because you fixed them up. What is that worth to the entire world? The spider web effect, goes out, and that person now creates a larger impact because of you. It can be something as simple as the girl behind the counter at the coffee shop. You walk in, and my thing is, I always like to try to create some type of phenomenon wherever I go. So I call being out in the field. So I go to the coffee shop, and I got the girl who's going to take my coffee order behind the counter, and I put a big smile on her face. And I say, wow, last time I was here, that coffee was so amazing. The way you made that foam. Oh, I tried to make it at home. I can't do it like you guys. You're the best, right? Now she got a big smile. I'm holding court in the coffee shop, and everybody's going crazy. All right. So, but now think about that for a second. That coffee shop sees thousands of clients every day online. Now they have a smile on the face. They're happy. Every client walks through that building, sees these smiling faces, and the spider web effect goes out. They say, man, that coffee crew is unbelievable. Man, they were all jolly and happy in there. Right? Then all of a sudden it spreads out. Then those people go out and they talk to other people, and boom, and that spreads out. All because I decided to put a smile on their face today. So it's the exact same thing with helping. When you help people, you create a larger impact. You don't know who you're helping, right? Like the whole chicken and the egg. I always tell the story about the kid who saved the drowning aristocrat's son in the pool. And then they said, you get to go to college, on us because you saved our son. The guy grew up to be a big, prominent doctor, and one of the most prominent doctors in all of England. And then when the war was happening, they said, they went to this doctor, said, you're the guy, you have to save this guy, because if he dies, Hitler's going to take over the world. They said, I will do my service. He saves the guy from dying. He saved Winston Churchill. So who's more important, the doctor or Winston Churchill? Without Churchill, right, we're all speaking German, right? But the doctor was just important because he saved Churchill. The funny part about that story is the kid that he saved from drowning in the pool was also Winston Churchill.
It sounds like you almost got a spiritual approach to healing as well wrapped up in this.
It's weird the way the universe works, man. But you know what? I've seen too much firsthand, so I got to accept it. I've seen too much with the energy and all that stuff. I'm a big energy guy.
Nice.
It sounds like you've got a line on the comedy and spreading happiness and healing with joy.
Yes, it's for me. It's a big thing. Listen, comedy is kind of like one of those things that it diffuses the message. It kind of like blindsides them. Of course, in other words, they don't even know. Like I said, if I were to go around the country doing hypnosis demonstrations, people be like turned off. What is this? But you do a comedy show, it kind of diffuses it. Hey, we're going to see our friends do some funny stuff. Yeah, this guy's pretty funny. You got fans around the world. They bring more fans. They bring more people, and it kind of like makes it where it's all good.
It drops the critical faculties quicker, is what you're saying.
Yes, it does. Comedy really makes it slip right past their defenses. Hey, let's have some fun here. Let's see what's going on.
Nice. Okay, so now I also wanted to ask you about, sure, you're helping others with a smile on your face and everything like that, but what's this impact with hypnosis world and creating new hypnotists that's given the effect? What are you giving out there with this, and how are you helping them really get to that point where they make that big money?
Yes. So here's the thing. All right. So hypnosis world is designed to elevate the entire profession of hypnosis. So I believe that, like I said, everybody on the planet needs a hypnotist. It's the best tool available to make people's lives better, yet it's always a last resort at best to make, right? So it's got a black mark against it. There's always a massive stigma attached to it. So my job is to take that stigma away. And here's my philosophy on that. And it's been my philosophy about everything I've ever done in my entire life. I've owned lots of businesses. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, never had a regular job my entire life. And my philosophy has always been this: excellence. When people see excellence, your life becomes on autopilot. Things just happen for you. So show excellence all the time. So now the hypnosis industry has a lot of black marks against it because of some of the big organizations from days gone by didn't train up the hypnotist properly. So I look at it like this. Hypnosis is actually two separate line items. You got the induction, and then you got whatever comes after it. Where it's not just one line. Everybody thinks, oh, hypnosis, just one line item. It's not. It's two separate line items. So what happens is, if you could be excellent at therapy, you could be a great therapist. If the induction does not drive the subject super deep, A, the therapy is not as effective, and B, there's no wow factor. Because you have to look at it like this. The general public at large, you go speak to 1,000 people in the mall, just random people. Tell me everything you know about hypnosis. And they'll be able to tell you a few things, maybe. But the general public, their experience with hypnosis is what they see on TV and in the movies. And what they see in the TV and the movies. They see zombies, right? Or people doing all kinds of wacky, crazy stuff. So if that's what they want, that's what you have to give them. You have to give them such a depth of hypnosis that there's no question that guy was like zombified. So I teach all my hypnotists. Step number one, the first line item, induction. Get them deep. I don't care what you got to do. You better drive them deep. And I'm talking level 6 and below. There's levels below 6 on the Esdale scale, right? Yeah, so 6, yeah, you can hallucinate negative. All right. Yeah, that's a deep level of hypnosis. That's the basic standard. I want to go below that. I want to go where they don't remember anything that just happened to them. They woke up like, when are you going to hypnotize me? Mm-hmm. All right. I want that depth. I want to fractionate them so deeply where see, like every hypnosis teacher or organization, they say you can't hypnotize somebody against their will. You can't make them do something out of their nature. Well, after 10,000 shows, I beat both of those every day of the week, right? There's not a day that goes by I don't do that on my shows. Every night, I can show you I can get anybody to do anything. Manchurian Candidate stuff with cakewalk. You fractionate the subject super deep, and then you make the story real enough, they'll do anything you want. But that's what the public wants. The public wants the wow factor, right? The guy who gets brought in, dragged in by his wife, and the wife says he needs to quit smoking. That guy's a hard subject, right? He's not even there on his own accord. His wife is dragging him in. He's like this. The hypnotist looks at him. He or she is dead in the water. That guy's not getting hypnotized. At the most, they're going to say, oh, yeah, I feel pretty relaxed, but I don't know if I was really hypnotized, right? That's not going to work. And what happens is now the stigma is attached to hypnosis, and we stay where we are. So the hypnotist needs to learn how to drill that subject so hard where that guy, when he comes in, he wakes up a half hour later and says, when are you going to hypnotize me? And he's already been knocked out. We got video. The wife's got video. The wife was laughing because we had to do a couple of funny little quirks. And now the guy quits smoking. He loses weight, whatever you want. And he don't even know. And he don't even know what happened to him. Now that customer becomes an ambassador. And then hypnosis gets raised. So the first line item, super depth of hypnosis. Second line item, is there something funny coming after it? Or is there some type of therapy coming after it? One or the other. Now, the other problem here that the hypnosis industry has is the stage hypnotist, being kind of creepy. And all of a sudden now what's coming after the induction is kind of creepy. And all of a sudden now, boom, another black eye for hypnosis. The show should be inspirational. Listen, I'm not saying you shouldn't make it funny. You want to make it funny, right? Go ahead, be my guest. But it shouldn't be creepy. And there's a fine line in between the two. So the stage hypnotist has a responsibility to do a great job every night and promote hypnosis in a fine light. That's number one. And the clinical hypnotist better learn how to do hypnosis line item number one to the full extent. I'll tell you the truth. The hypnotist got to watch because I've been training a lot of psychiatrists lately in my guerrilla hypnosis class. They found out about me and they're all coming. And these are all highly trained professionals in therapy. They know therapy really well. If they learn how to be good hypnotists, it's lights out.
Nice.
And they're all starting to learn how to be great hypnotists because I'm teaching them now. And those guys know real therapy, and they have a clinical background, and the medical industry is behind them, and they're gonna get good, and the industry is gonna change. So I'm telling you, hypnotists, up your game. Become a better hypnotist now. And that's the goal. That's the mission statement of Hypnosis World, is take the existing hypnotists on the planet, make them excellent. And then from there, I want to train up 100,000 new hypnotists and have them, right, really start servicing what the needs of the people. There's 100,000 chiropractors in the United States of America alone. 100,000 chiropractors, right? So why would we have 100,000 hypnotists?
Right.
There should be one. There should be one everywhere. Everybody should be going to hypnotists.
You opened up something here for me that I find very interesting, because I've heard other hypnotists say that you cannot, several people say, you cannot change someone to quit smoking or stop an addiction if they're not at threshold. But you said you can help them even if they're not willing to come into the session.
Easily. Piece of cake. All right. So I look. So there's 4 types of people, and this is another thing that the therapist needs to start learning. If you tell the person to quit smoking, so let's say you get them super deep, right? Which is good. Now you tell them, listen, man, when you quit smoking, what's what they always tell them? Oh, you're going to live longer. So what am I selling the client by saying that if he quits smoking, he's going to live longer? What am I selling him? I'm selling him self-preservation. Well, that's only one of the 4 types of people. There's self-preservation, there's money, there's relationships, and there's recognition. There's 4 different types of people. So it's my job as the therapist, as the hypnotist, the expert hypnotist, to profile the client and sell him the therapy he wants to be sold. So if a guy comes in to quit smoking and I tell him that he's going to live longer, if he's not self-preservation, he's not quitting today. What if the guy is money? I'm going to say the cigarette company is making a fool out of you every day. Every day, right? A pack of cigarettes normally costs 50 cents, but the government taxes it to oblivion to $10 to $20 a pack now. And that money every day comes out to $3,600 if you smoke 1 pack a day. Money doubles every 5 years. That means that's $7,500 after 5 years. That's $15,000 after 10 years. That's $30,000 after 15 years. That's $60,000 after 20 years. How many years you've been smoking? And that's only after 1 year. If that, you got to multiply that by every 5 years. You're spending $250,000 by smoking for 20 years.
Right.
So now I've give him the money reason why he needs to quit smoking. What if the guy has relationships? You know how much more romantically attractive you're going to be by stop smoking? Your breath smelling clean and fresh, your clothes, the way your skin color comes back, you're going to look amazing. Right? Now he quits smoking. What if the guy has recognition? You know how many millions of people try to stop smoking every year and they fail? Those guys are losers. You're going to be able to tell everybody how you were the guy who quit smoking just like that. Be able to brag to all your friends. I quit instantaneously just like that. So I sell the client the therapy that they want to be sold. So I modify the therapy depending on who the client is. So now I have depth of subject. I have specific therapy modality. I have specific sales therapy. And now you have the trifecta. You have everything.
So you don't even work on their identity if they identify as themselves as a smoker, as opposed to.
Correct. You want to identify them as which of the 4 modalities they are. The thing that they really want to be sold. The thing that they really desperately care about. We all have all 4, but there's one that's predominantly you. So you find out which of the 4 they are, and then you attack that in your therapy session. So you modify your therapy depending on what the client really wants.
So what do you do to discover which one that they are? Do you try to attack all 4 at once?
No, what I do is I do it through process elimination. I have a specific I guess formula that I use to do it. So the way I do it is so there's only 4 categories. So I eliminate money first. I go direct, wide, direct. This is how I do it. So I go directly at them first and I eliminate money first, because a money person is very glaring. We all have money people in our life. We all know them. And usually a person who does not have money, but they're always trying to brag about money, they're very cheap. They're a little unscrupulous. They'll do anything for the money. So they stick out like a sore thumb. So you can look at them and say right away, is that person a money person or not? It's pass or fail. It's very direct. You know the person just by looking at them. So I go direct first. All right, so I've eliminated money. Then I go to the bookends, self-preservation or recognition. They seem the same, but they're polar opposites. Self-preservation, they want safety and security. Recognition, they want to be recognized. They want to have status. They want to have, some type of thing where they can have bragging rights. So if I look for a piece of data that gives me one or the other. If it's neither, I know it's relationships. So I go direct, wide, direct. So within 30 seconds to a minute, the way they answer any question you're talking about, they'll tip their hand and show you which of the four they are. And then you sell them what they want to be sold.
So that person who's beating themselves up, that person who thinks they're a piece of shit and that's why they're in their addiction type of thing, it's almost like they're trying to kill themselves. So that would eliminate self-preservation and money. So you think that's a relationship issue?
No, actually, it's interesting how each of the four categories can be anything. So in other words, you could have a person who's really diminutive and not confident be a recognition person, but they hate themselves for not getting the recognition, and they hate being disrespected, but they take it out on themselves. Where another recognition person might be like, hey, look at me. They walk into the room and they're all bragging and they're all right. So you could have a recognition person be one, either or. It works both ways. So what I like to do is I like to test the client out. You can ask them one question. You can ask them what the weather is outside. The way they answer it, you'll be able to decipher which of the four they are.
Nice.
But the money person, like I said, is easy. They're very glaring. So I don't like those people in my life because they're usually unscrupulous. They're usually a little shady, So you don't want that. You don't really want that person around as much because they're, So they a lot of times they harbor a lot of negative energy. So they stick out very, very sharply. And then the self-preservation person is, like I said, safety and security. They care desperately about that. And then the recognition person, right? They're all about status. And then relationships, all about their personal relationships with everybody. So you can ask me, say, hey, what do you think about coming to this event? And they'll say something like, oh man, I love meeting everybody. Everybody was so cool. They're tipping their hand. It's relationships.
So, hey, so this is wonderful, man. And speaking of the relationships and self-preservation and let us know how people can reach you. Because we want to let everyone know, hey, give us the links, give us the numbers, let us know, hey, how do we reach Rich, man? We need to get a hold of this guy.
Super simple. Just go to hypnosisworld.com, and I am very, very easily accessible. You can Google my name too, Rich Guzzi. As soon as you put in the G, Google spells my name out for you. So it's pretty easy because I'm famous enough where everybody knows me now. But hypnosisworld.com is literally the best way because it's got lots of amazing resources for the hypnotist on that site.
And there's places where we can just sign up right there if we're interested, correct?
Exactly, right. You can there's lots of hypnosis goodies on there. So if you join the mailing list, I send you all kinds of good stuff. I send you 2 of my scripts, for hypnotizing people. I send you the good energy affirmation script if you want to help people in any scenario. I give you some hypnotic music, some royalty-free hypnotic music that I had made up. Also, it's on the 417 hertz frequency, the one for change. So it's got binaural beats into the music. It's got that. It's got a free consultation session. Lots of cool stuff on there. All for becoming a mailing list member of Hypnosis World.
Rich,
that sounds awesome.
Yes, I noticed you just said you're going to send scripts, but you're not a script guy.
Oh no, well, I have a good energy affirmation script that I wrote that is designed. It's in 7 sections. So what happens is, I always tell people whenever you hypnotize somebody, always do something nice for that person. Always do something good. So this good energy affirmation What it does is it's broken down into 7 sections. If you have a short amount of time, just do sections 1 and 7. If you have a long amount of time, like I do on a show, I'll do the full good energy affirmation. And it puts in all the good stuff for the entire audience. Takes a couple of minutes. But let's say you're at a Starbucks, right? You're at the coffee shop and you're hypnotizing a couple of people over there. You do the good energy affirmation for those people because you just helped them out. But now the bystanders watching you do that good energy affirmation, they're saying to themselves, wow, this hypnosis thing is pretty cool. Look what he's doing for these people. It's pretty awesome. It plants the seeds of imagination into the bystanders. And now they want to try it. They want to be part of it now as well. And it paints hypnosis in a good light. It's NLP'd up to the hilt. If you want to see a really good piece of NLP work, of a written script, that good energy affirmation is a work of art. And then I also give you my progressive relaxation induction that I use on shows and on Zoom calls, Zoom group meetings, that again is specifically written to get people super deep in group scenarios.
Nice.
So, and it's a deadly script. It's literally a deadly script.
Nice. Okay, so you know what we're all about. What would you like to share to our audience? Anything you want to share to our audience about, alternative healing and what's on your heart? What do you want to share to us?
What are you passionate about?
I'm really passionate about the 2 separate line items. To me, I think is the most important thing. I always say, hypnotists, be great at inductions. All right. Learn how to do the inductions properly. I only use 5 inductions. I can show you how I can hypnotize anybody, any place, anywhere, anytime. I don't care who the subject is. Doesn't make a difference. They're hard, easy, and it doesn't make a difference what the scenario is. They can be standing up in a bar with a band playing in the background, and I'll knock the person out hard and deep. I only use 5 inductions. Learn the 5 and get good at that, so that way you give the audience whatever the wow factor. And I mean by audience, it's either one person or 1,000 people. If I'm doing 1,000 people in Las Vegas or on a cruise ship, or I'm doing one person in an office, that's a hypnosis performance. I consider it a hypnosis show. Mm-hmm. And that one person needs to get the wow factor. And the way you get the wow factor is when they wake up out of that hypnosis session, they got to go like this. Oh, man. What just happened here? All right. So get great at inductions. Next, on your therapies, learn how to profile a client and modify the therapy depending on who the client is of the 4 categories, which is self-preservation, money, relationships, and recognition. If you do that one thing right there, you get good at that, your therapies are going to go from here to here, and you're going to notice how you're helping everybody. And you are going to get a tremendous uptick in results from doing that, because you're sinking directly into, you're talking directly to that person's modality of what they really care about.
Nice.
And in the pre-talk, during your pre-talk, which is the most important part of everything, that pre-talk, you will notice they will tip their hand. And now that I've made you aware of this, you'll see what I'm talking about. As they're talking, they will literally tip their hand and tell you who they are. And then you talk to them that way during your therapy session. And I guarantee you, without a shadow of a doubt, your phone's going to start ringing more and more, because more people are becoming ambassadors to your business, and you'll make more money. So again, don't feel embarrassed about making money for your sessions, and become the prosperous helper. Money is a tool. It's an impact tool, like the hammer. And last but not least, start working on group sessions. One-on-one is fantastic, but you'll notice, if you look back and do a little soul searching, there's clients that you love to work with. These are the clients that when you see them on your calendar that day, this is what I really enjoy doing. Figure that out what that is for you, and then start specializing in that area, and then build yourself a funnel, right? A funnel is like, a marketing, a CRM tool where you then send the lead magnet out to say, here's a free item in exchange for your name, email, and phone number. All right. You give them that free item, and then you upsell them to a group session of the things that you like to work on. So let's say you love working people who have trouble sleeping. You give them a 10 steps checklist on how to sleep better at night. That's going to be your lead magnet, gets them into your pipeline. And then from there, you bring them into a 2-hour class on how to sleep better, which is live with you, which has lots of intrinsic value because you're live with the actual person. The first hour is you talking about how to sleep better. The second hour is you doing a hypnosis session in the group setting. And you will see how you will be prosperous beyond belief. I teach all my people that exact technique, that exact process. You want to have a great hypnosis business? That's exactly how you do it.
Rich, you're phenomenal. I love you. I know that Scott loves you, and it's amazing having you on here. We're so grateful to have you on here. I just want to thank you for being here, man. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank
my
you for
pleasure.
sharing.
Guys, you are doing a great job promoting hypnosis. You're doing a great job, teaching the industry and just the regular general public at large what it's all about. It's been my pleasure hanging with you. I'll anytime you want me on, I will do this anytime you want. I could talk about this for days.
We could talk to you for days too. It's a pleasure. Okay, guys, thanks for riding the bus with us. Thanks for taking the road down Rich's magical psyche highway. We certainly had a great time today, and we've learned a lot. So
what a trip it's been.
That's right. What a trip it's been. If you like us, give us a thumbs up. If you think we're assholes, hey, give us a thumbs down. Tell us about it. We want to know. Comment, share it with your friends, sign up to our podcast, follow us. You can say, hey, we love these guys. You can say, hey, check out these fools. They're idiots. I don't care. Share us. Let us get involved in your life. And please, next week, come back and join us on this magical psychic highway and ride the bus with us. Join the bus. Thanks again, guys. Thanks, Rich.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye. Thanks, Rich.
Wow, what a trip. Thanks for taking that journey with us today. Please like us, share us, and enlighten us with your views of the topics we drove into today. We appreciate you and love reading your comments. Thanks again, and we hope to see you back on the bus next week. That's right.